With the stroke of his pen, U.S. President Donald Trump takes another step towards pressuring Beijing over allegations of intellectual property theft. He's asking his top trade official, Robert Lighthizer, to examine whether Chinese policy warrants formal investigation.
Ambassador Lighthizer, you are empowered to consider all available options at your disposal. We will safeguard the copyrights, patents, trademarks, trade secrets, and other intellectual property that is so vital to our security and to our prosperity.
China requires many foreign companies doing business in China to create joint ventures and share their technology. That has long bothered those who don't want to lose their competitive edge. On the campaign trail, Trump promised to address the issue.
We are going to enforce all trade violations against any country that cheats. This includes stopping China's outrageous theft of intellectual property.
Beijing warns any unilateral penalties could lead to a trade war.
Trade measures taken by any member of the World Trade Organization should abide by the rules of the WTO. We have said repeatedly before that as China and the United States are increasingly interconnected with their interests closely entwined with each other, a trade war will get them nowhere, nor will it have a winner, but only leads to a lose-lose situation.
And trade experts are asking if Washington no longer uses the WTO to resolve trade disputes, will others do the same?
Does this even work in the current globalized economic supply chain that we have right now?
Sure. Well, we're going to test that theory with this case, I think. The WTO was supposed to replace tools like this, but there's a lot of gaps in the WTO. This is an administration that doesn't have a lot of patience.
The White House doesn't seem to have much patience either when it comes to resolving the Korean nuclear crisis. A U.S. official tells CGTN the White House plans to use a series of trade actions to pressure Beijing to cut off Pyongyang from resources it needs to continue its illegal nuclear and missile programs. And Elaine, the timing of all of this is also interesting because remember, the original announcement was supposed to be on a Friday before the Saturday vote at the United Nations Security Council to levy increased sanctions against Pyongyang. Well, Beijing was very much in support of that. They were part of that 15-0 vote in support of that. And yet there are still some in the administration who say there is no connection here between the trade actions that Washington is taking and its desire to work with Beijing against the nuclear program of Pyongyang.
So, Jessica, what happens next?
Well, it really is going to be up to the U.S. Trade Representative Lighthizer to really decide how long he wants to investigate, the possibility of launching a formal investigation, and then even that is a protracted process. So we could well be looking at months, if not more than a year, in terms of how long this takes. In the end, trade experts say that this can still be taken to the WTO, and that's what's so interesting here, because that's essentially an unnecessary step. The United States could go right to the WTO right now with this type of action if it were willing to wait for the WTO to weigh in.
All right, Jessica Stone live for us at the White House.